let's do this. So everyone on the call, once again, this is Grant Horvath and Carly Schaenauer. This is our next installment of Toolbox Tuesdays. What we'll be talking about today is our advanced notifications and advanced accounting extensions for Business Central. So Carly, let's dive into the agenda. So first, we're going to talk about the current gaps in out-of-the-box Business Central. We're going to give you a quick look at how our two solutions fill those gaps. Carly's going to jump into a 35-minute long live demo where you'll see advanced notifications and advanced accounting in action. We'll finish it off with the next steps on how to get these downloaded into your sandbox environment, your resources, and of course, for everyone on the call as well, feel free to hop into the chat box at any time. If you like a certain thing that we've demoed, throw us a reaction. We're really excited to dive into this one. So without further ado, let's go into the gaps in Business Central out of the box. So for advanced notifications, right now in BC out of the box, there's no real ability or easy way to add pop-up notes for customers, vendors, and items. There's no real way to add on-the-fly notes to transactions or a way to create a workflow for tagged users. And there's really no way to tag individuals or groups directly in BC with automated emails. So think you're in Business Central. You want to notify someone about something on a sales order, and you want an email to send to them automatically. Now, on the advanced accounting side, there's really no easy way to deliver reports via email in BC. So think your AR aging, think your different invoice, think different documents within Business Central. There's no simple way to see remittance information after vendor payment journals have been posted. And there's no real printing of checks in BC that does have features around signature and threshold printing. So let's dive into the solutions, and then we'll pass it off to Carly. Number one, rich text HTML notes for customers, vendors, and items. You're going to see that in advanced notifications. Notes that trigger based on events occurring in the system, like credit limit exceeded. Ad hoc notes that give users the ability to tag other users and groups on different documents, master data records, and production orders. And then on accounting, the ability to deliver Excel-based reports direct to your inbox, view posted payment journal remittance in an easy-to-view dashboard, and enhanced check printing with custom signatures, signature threshold capabilities when printing based on the amount. So y'all know us. Without further ado, we're going to pass it directly off to Carly to give you a live demo of our two extensions today.
Awesome. Thank you, Grant. Okay, everyone should be seeing Business Central now. I'm on a customer card here. We are going to start with advanced notifications. Okay, so really the idea behind advanced notifications is to get that communication within the system and then also through email outside of the system. Okay, but the idea is that you don't have to leave Business Central to send someone a message, to ask them a question, or to alert them on something. Okay, that communication is really entered throughout the system, and then they can get notified through email. So there's a lot of good stuff here. I'm going to start with pop-up notes. Okay, so pop-up notes in our advanced notification tool is a way on customers, vendors, and items that you set up a pop-up note, and then anytime they open up that customer card or that item card, they get a message, you know, hey, this item was faulty this week, or when we got it from the vendor, don't use it. We're waiting to hear back, something like that. Okay, an alert that as soon as they open that record, they see it right away. Okay. And then we take it one step deeper. And then if someone was actually to add that item, we added a pop-up note on a sales order, let's say, or on a purchase order, they're going to purchase it. We're going to actually, as soon as they grab that item on a purchase line or a sales line, it can pop up there as well as kind of a second indicator. Hey, you know, we shouldn't be purchasing this week. Or reach out to someone about a question. So let's set one of those up together. So I'm on a customer card. You can see here I have an add pop-up note. Okay, so I simply can just enter my pop-up note, testing, oops. INT demo. Okay, so you can add whatever note you want here. I can come down here and you're going to see some features down here. First one being pop up on a sales order. Okay. Pop up on existing sales order. So if you have previous sales orders out there before you create this note, it'll actually pop up on those too. This option pop up on viewing a customer. Okay, so that's when you open up the customer card and then save it on a sales order as well. So you'll be able to historically see that pop-up note. So I'm going to say pop up on sales order and save on a sales order here. Now I can hit OK. If let's actually check this one on as well. Okay, save and back. If I come back and open up this customer here, okay, I see that pop-up note. Okay, so mine wasn't too great of a message, but you kind of get the idea. It's really an alert when you open up that customer card. Same features exist when you're on a vendor and an item. Okay, to take that now one step deeper, if I go to a sales order and create a sales order for that customer, okay, I'm going to close there. It's going to show you that note here as well. Okay, so again, these are pop-up notes. You can go back, change the note, delete the note. But again, they exist. This feature exists on customers, vendors, and items, and then will show up on related documents as well. Okay, so there's pop-up notes. I'm going to hit close here. Another great feature we have over here is advanced notifications, is what we call them. Okay, so if I create a sales order, I can come over here to attachments, hit that attachments, and select add note. Okay. Maybe I have a question on the sales order that I need to actually ask someone. I can actually tag them in this message and send them a question. So I'm going to say at Grant, what is the status of this order? Okay. This is actually going to send Grant an email to his email with this and the link to the sales order. Okay, so if I hit close, that would fire off that email to Grant. He gets that notification through email. He actually gets a link to the sales order, and now he can open that up and look at it. Okay, it actually saves this advanced note here on the sales order as well. So if you have many notes that you're adding, you can kind of see the dialogue here of kind of back and forth. Okay, Grant would come back in here and give me the update, and then he can tag me and go back. Okay, so it's kind of that idea of having, that Teams chat within Business Central itself. You don't have to leave the system, actually open up Teams, send them an email separately. We just do it directly from Business Central, which is great. This advanced notification feature I just showed exists again on customers, vendors, items, and then also at the transactional level, so sales orders, purchase orders. Okay, so really great feature here to communicate within the system. Okay. And again, those can be saved on these documents. Okay. So we went over pop-up messages. We went over advanced notifications. Another thing we have here is salesperson notifications. And so on our setup page, you can specify if a salesperson, you can do this by salesperson. Okay, so let's say we have 2 salespeople. We have myself, Carly, and we have Grant. Maybe Grant, we're setting up notifications just if a sales order shipped. But for Carly, we're sending notifications if a sales order shipped, if a new sales order is created that I'm a salesperson for, if it got returned, things like that. Okay, you can specify what each salesperson gets in terms of notifications. So for this sales order here, you can see the salesperson code is myself. I'm signed up for salesperson notifications for shipments. So if I come down here and I ship this item right here, sure, quantity, that's fine. And I can ship an invoice here. This is actually going to send an email to myself, since I was a salesperson here, saying, hey, that sales order just shipped, okay, alerting the salesperson right there. If I come over to my email just to show you what that looks like, you can see here, I just received this. It says sales order shipment alert, sales order number with this customer has been shipped, and actually a link to open that sales order itself. Okay. So again, you can set this up by salesperson. Maybe one salesperson gets the notifications, the other doesn't. They run to receive it for different things. That's totally fine. You can do it by salesperson as well. Okay, this is only a very small snippet of what those notifications can do. So just to give you an idea, if we go to the setup page, ANT setup right here, and I scroll down here, these are all of those salesperson or purchaser notifications. Okay, so I just showed you sales order shipment to give you an idea. But if you look here, we can do prepayments, we can do approval notifications on POs and sales orders. We can do purchase receipt notifications. Okay, so really a lot here. And then where you can specify it user by user is in my salesperson notification setup. This is where I said myself, CS, gets sales order shipment notifications. And then I could set up Grant right here. And I could say Grant gets purchase receipt. Every receipt he gets a notification that he's a purchaser for. Okay. So really great stuff here in terms of sales order notifications. The last thing I like to show with notifications, that extension, is this section right here. And a great one right here that we created is this job queue error. Okay, so a lot of time in the system, we have job queue set up to run a certain task or run a report at a certain date. Maybe we set up a job queue to run customer statements on the first day of every month. Okay, sometimes that job queue fails. Okay, maybe it's because the email is no longer set up, it's not working, something timed out, there's an issue with the statements. And a lot of times we don't know that it failed. So we think the customers got their statements, right? We don't know otherwise unless we go to the job queue and actually open it up and say, oh, it looks like it errored last month and we didn't even see that. So what we did here is if a job queue fails, you can send that failure to a certain email and they'll get a notification, hey, this job queue failed, you should probably check it out. So what you would do is come in here and say, email on job queue error, yes. And I would say, you know, Carly is the person we need to let know if any job queue fails, we need to send to her. And it'll send her an email with the link of the job queue saying, hey, this job queue failed, you should check it out. So that's a really great one, and just one example of what else we have existing here. So just to kind of run through these, we have expiring quotes, expired quotes. Okay, so if you're the salesperson for a customer, you're kind of in charge there, and we have some sales quotes that are expiring soon based on expiration date. It'll actually send an email out saying, hey, you have a couple sales or quotes that are going to expire soon. You know, should they be turned into orders or do they need to be deleted? Okay, and then similar thing for expired quotes. Okay. And then if you look over here, we can get notifications on sales order not shipped, not invoiced, POs not received, and POs not invoiced. And essentially on each of these, you're specifying where the email is going in the subject and template. Okay. So again, advanced notifications, the core of it is those pop-up notifications, those advanced notifications where I can tag someone in an actual note and it'll send them an email with the question. In our example, I tagged Grant in a note and I said, what's the status of the sales order? You know, what are next steps? Sent him an email. Then we have all those salesperson notifications. Okay. Okay. That is really the core of advanced notifications. Do we have any questions before I move on to advanced accounting?
Currently, nothing in the chat box, Carly, but for everyone on the call, just posted the advanced notifications app source page. You can go over there, check out a brief summary, user setup, as well as download a free trial. Back to you, Carly.
Awesome. Thank you, Grant. Okay, we're going to switch gears. We're going to go to advanced accounting. Okay, so if I'm going to go back here, and we're actually going to start at the setup page for this one. I don't like to go through setup too much, like to just show, but this one is actually good to look at the setup page together. Okay, So advanced accounting, the core of this one is really the automation of those core financial reports, your aging reports, AP, AR, inventory valuations, etc., through email. So you can set up job queues where automatically, the first of every month, the job queue will deliver your balance sheet, income statement, AR, AP, agings, inventory valuation. You don't have to go into Business Central to run these reports. They're automatically sent directly to your email in the morning. So that's really nice, or whatever time frame you want to set it up. You can also send it to maybe an accounting shared mailbox. So anyone that's receiving as a part of that mailbox can receive all of these financial reports. Okay. Then we also have kind of some add-on features, I'll call it, to advanced accounting that I'm going to go through here, which is a chart of accounts sync, a dimensional trial balance, and then an ACH dashboard and sending feature. Okay. It looks like we might have had a question on advanced notifications, so I just wanted to check that before moving on. Yes, that's a great question, Chris, and the answer is yes. Will the advanced notifications work in all areas of the system that have the BC standard note functionality with attachment? Because that's where I added it, and the answer is yes. Yep. Okay. Thanks for the question. That was a good one. So we're going to kind of jump right into advanced accounting here. And the first thing I'd like to show is a chart of accounts sync. So this feature is really nice. If your client or if yourself have Business Central and a lot of companies set up inside of Business Central. So if I come up here and you'll actually see multiple BC companies, right? And ideally, all of those companies or most of them have the same chart of accounts for consolidation purposes. Okay, out of box Business Central, you're not able to sync or automatically sync your chart of accounts across multiple companies. Okay, this is what we added that for, okay, to fill that gap itself. So if I come up here and I go to sync setup, I'm saying that I want these two Business Central companies to share the same chart of accounts. If I add an account in my AAC demo company, it's also going to add it in my Cronus company, vice versa. If I add an account in Cronus, it's also going to add it in the AAC demo company. And then that goes for adding a new account, renaming it, modifying it, deleting it, as long as there's no GL data. Okay, it's not going to let you delete the account if there's GL data in the other company. Okay, so to show this here, I have both of these companies synced up. If I go back and I go to my chart of accounts here, and I'm going to add just a 1112 account testing AAC, and I added it here in the Cronus company. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to refresh in my AAC demo company here. And you see already just kind of instantly, you'll see that account created. And then to kind of test the other way, I could actually delete it here, right? I can come back to my other company. I'm going to refresh.
Carly, while you're doing
and now
that,
it's
we have
out right here. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry about that, Carly. We've got another question that seems more spur of the moment and good opportunity. It's what about dimension defaults?
It does carry dimension defaults with the account itself. Yes. Yep. Good question. So he's asking there if I were to set up account dimensions right here, default dimensions to the GL account, does that carry to the other company? And the answer is yes, it does. Okay. All right. Awesome. Yep, great question. So really that solves the issue of that chart of accounts sync and just making sure that chart of accounts across many companies are synced together. When it comes time for consolidation, you don't even have to worry about that, okay? Going back to the setup page, because that's where a lot of this stems from for this extension here, the next feature I'd like to go over is our auto emailing based on financial reports, okay? So here you can see I can auto email a balance sheet, an income statement, an AR aging, AP aging, inventory valuation, a WIP, and a sales summary. Okay, these are all using Business Central out-of-the-box reports that you have in here already, just taking those and auto-emailing them out. So what you can do is you basically just set up each section with, where should it go? What's the email we should send this to? An email subject. So you can see here, you know, %1 can be replaced by company name, %2 can be replaced by aging date. So in my email subject, I put AR aging %2, which would put AR aging as of April 2nd for today. And then you do that similar setup for each of these sections here. Okay. If I come up with my balance sheet and income statement, it allows you to pick one balance sheet and one income statement. That again, where should this go? I have it set up to my account and then the email subject as well. These account numbers right here, you'll see 1 through 9, is actually so you're able to see the balance of an account in the email body itself. So if I wanted to see, receivables in my actual email before I open up the attached balance sheet, I can put this AR account right here, and on my email, it'll show me the balance without having to open up a PDF or anything or the Excel sheet of my AR account. Okay. And so that's what that's doing here. To run these reports, you can run manually. So kind of a one-time ad hoc, you want to run them. I can come up here and run them right here. Alternatively, and more likely what you would do is set up job queues for these, okay? So I can hit run manually. I'll do an AR aging right now to show how that's gonna work. It says quick as that, AR aging email sent, okay? We'll wait for that to come to over to my email, and then I can head over to my job queues and show you how we set those up. So if I come up here to search while we're waiting for that email to come through, you'll see if you type in AAC, which is our extension, the name of it, you'll see the AAC email AR aging. These are the two that I have set up now. You can set up these for each of them, the AP aging, the income statement, the balance sheet. You set up a job queue for each of them separately. Okay, so you just have set up this code unit. I could come up in here, say I want this, to send out on the first day of each month. Maybe every Monday I want to send it out. You really just set up that reoccurrence feature down here and then set status to ready, and then that job queue will be ready for you. Okay. Okay. And so when you're creating these job queues, what I do is I come up here and I say new, create a new one. It's a code unit we're running. If I select this, you can type in actually just AAC. It'll show you all the job queues we have embedded in our extension. Okay, so you're saying, okay, I want to set up the job WIP report. I can select that one right here, or the income statement, balance sheet. They're all in here. Okay. Then while we were doing this, I received that email when I ran it manually for the AR aging. I can open that up. Okay, and here it attached that Excel sheet directly in the email for me. Okay. You'll also see that it shows AR aging 5/22/24. That is because that's my work day right here. My work date is set to 5/22. So Business Central thinks it's May 22nd right now. That is why it looked at that date. Okay, so it'll go off your work date. Okay. So there's our auto emailing feature. If I go back to advanced accounting, again, you can run manually from here, which is good. When you're setting this up, kind of getting comfortable, I like to point people to run it manually first, just to make sure everything checks out. It's going to the right email, the report looks good, the email subject, the email body looks good, and then you can kind of turn it over to setting up those job queues in the future to run automatically for you. Okay. Great. Coming down here, so we talked about the auto emailing feature, setting up job queues for those. Okay, we also have this banking feature right here, which Grant mentioned when we were going over the solutions and the gaps. We have really an entire payment remittance or ACH dashboard for you. Okay, so we basically set up this section, and I'm going to turn it over and actually show you what this looks like. So if I go to a payment journal, and I'm doing an ACH, okay, so I have an ACH set up here. You set this all up as normal. You have your data exchange definition with the NACHA format and everything. Nothing of that changes. You still set up your bank account. However, we're going to post and send the remittances directly from the journal right here. So if I come up here, I have my line created with electronic payment, and I do bank export. Okay, I'm exporting out the remittance. This is just what Business Central requires us to do. Okay, it exported that PDF. We're not sending that one. That's just kind of to go with Business Central processes. Then if I come here and I go actions, functions, generate EFT, again, this is part of the standard Business Central process. Okay, I generated my Nacha file that I would upload to the bank. Now here is where I come in and I'm going to say post and send. It's going to say, do you want to post the journal lines? Yes. And then it's asking, would you like to send payment remittance advice to any vendor that we put in here for a payment? And I'm going to say yes. Okay, that's going to fire off an email to the vendor with their attached remittance. Okay, so again, that just came through my email right here. Okay, so you can modify. Mine says, please find attached remittance. I can open that up, and here it shows the remittance with the invoice applied to that payment. Okay, so you can post and send from the actual payment journal like I just showed you, or you can actually send from a dashboard. Okay, or you could do both. So we just send it from the payment journal. If I come up here and I type in payment remittance dashboard right here, this is your ACH dashboard we created now. Okay, so this is a great place to come to see any historical ACHs that you've done, because that's kind of one thing that's hard to find inside of Business Central, is to actually find those historical ACHs and the emails that got sent out. This is the place to do it with our extension. Okay, so I have my ACH dashboard, shows any historical ACH. I can sort by posting date here, by document number, any of this. Okay, I can see if it was sent to the vendor. So I can see all of these have been sent. And then actually the time, the date and time that we sent it and who sent it. Okay, that was myself. This is the one we just did. So I've worked with some clients who, instead of sending from the payment journal like I did, they just post it on the payment journal. Then they'll come to the dashboard and pick the ones that they want to send out to vendors and send from here. So not only can you send from the payment journal, you can actually send from the dashboard itself. So what that would look like is I can select this one that I've already sent. I can send email again. Okay, and now it'll send that vendor another payment remittance. The idea is that you wouldn't send it in both places. Of course, you can either send it through the payment journal or you can send it through this dashboard. Okay. It's also a great place, if you did send it through the payment journal, the vendor, says, hey, we didn't receive this payment remittance, you can come back here and actually resend it to them. Okay. And then I just received that one again here, it resent it, it attached it as well. Okay. Lastly here, if I go to a bank account, okay, and I come down here, you'll see that we have some added features right here. So we're able to do maker printing through this extension, okay? We have some pre-built reports or check layouts for common banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, that we've added in here already that usually work. Of course, it's going to depend on your check stock. So usually, sometimes we'll modify a few things, but it's a good starting point. Then we also added the ability where if you have a signature threshold, so if we're printing a check that's over $1,000 right here, you can add a signature that'll automatically get added to that check based on the threshold right here. Okay, so you simply just upload the picture of the signature right here. If the payment is over $1,000 in this scenario, it would add that signature for you automatically when you're printing checks. Okay, so that's kind of another little add-on feature we added. Okay. All right, that's really advanced accounting. These two are pretty powerful, yet simple, which is great when setting it up. The idea is it's a one-time setup. Advanced notifications, it's kind of ongoing. You're adding your pop-up messages, your advanced notes, all of that good stuff. Advanced accounting is kind of a one-time setup for setting up those reports that are auto-emailing out, right? You set up this bank feature, you set up the ACH feature, and then it's just plug and play and really use it from there. all I have for both of those. Do we have any other questions in the chat?
We did have one come in, Carly, and it came in a little bit more towards the front end of you going through advanced accounting.
Okay.
Is this a replacement for master data management based functionality?
Yeah. Yep. Yep, it would be. Really just the idea is that sync for that chart of accounts. I previously worked on many Business Central implementations where we had many companies inside of Business Central. This feature would have saved us a lot of time instead of, quarterly when we're doing consolidations, going in there and making sure we have accounts in both companies before I consolidate. This kind of just fixes that issue for us completely.
That's perfect. So, Carly, thank you for the presentation. Should we finish this one off with the PowerPoint, and then everyone else too, if you want to hop into the chat box, if you have any more questions for us, we also posted the free trial for advanced accounting as well. So now that you have an understanding of advanced notifications and advanced accounting, thanks to Carly, here are your next steps. Download that 30-day free trial that we put into the chat box. For partners, this can be in your demo environment. For users, this can be in your sandbox. We have a very simple activation video on YouTube, 90 seconds. We'll show you exactly how to do it, but very simple. Download from AppSource, go to our setup page, click Generate Demo button, and you're good to go. So now that we've gone through the next steps, the quick resources that we have for you are, number one, we do have a comprehensive product page with summaries, screenshots, user setup guides. You can find those on AppSource as well. We have a YouTube channel where this will be posted as a recording, along with all of our other walkthroughs and Toolbox Tuesdays. And finally, if you go on to bctoolbox.com, there is a product guide that will give you a fit gap analysis of everything. So with that being said, everyone, it looks like we've got about 10 or so minutes in the presentation, advanced notifications and advanced accounting. We got done with those very easy in terms of configuration. Are there any more questions coming from the group? All right, awesome. So if anyone does have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to our team. You can reach out to myself or Carly. Carly's your product lead for all of our financial and AR automation type tools, as well as project management. That's it for Toolbox Tuesday. Hope everyone has an awesome rest of your week, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, everyone.